Put down your baby and pick up some NyQuil? At least that's for me, Brandon. This is the Dad Jokes podcast. I'm Jerry, joined here by Brandon. And Brandon, the Lusky household has been a sick household for the last week, and it's been interesting. So that's what I'm drinking tonight, nothing but NyQuil.
Well, turn up, Jerry. That'll get you there if you drink enough of it. That's not recommended.
The game plan's to get me enough to sleep. So as long as that works, then I'll be a happy camper. But yeah, no, it's been an interesting week. This is probably random, Brandon, but I remember being younger, not even married yet, not even thinking about having kids yet, but I'd be sick. And when you're sick, you have weird thoughts because you're just laying in bed with nothing else to do. And I remember thinking when I was younger, like, man, it would suck to be sick and have to take care of a kid. And gosh darn if I wasn't right.
What's crazy is you said that to me last week before you really got sick.
Yeah, getting sick and having a kid is tough. And the problem is for us is we got back from our trip, and then Macy got sick, and then Peyton got sick right after, and I was kind of sick but not really bad, and then I started getting worse as they started getting better. So it's just been everyone, and it's been hard to really get through the days sometimes. But I can deal with me being sick, and Macy can deal with her being sick. But when Peyton was sick, that was rough because not only is it tough having a sick kid, but it's tough on you because you're worried about the kid. She had 102 temperature, and she was definitely uncomfortable. So we were both worried about that. And there's only so much you can do. So it was interesting to say the least. Not to mention the fact that she had 0% chance of sleeping, but she's definitely been on the mend. Her temperature's down. She seems to be acting like her old self. The one negative, though, Brandon, I will tell you, is because when they're sick, they tell you kind of got to break some habits. So we obviously weren't just putting her in her crib and letting her sleep because she wasn't going to sleep. So we were holding her more, taking care of her more. Well, tonight I went to put her down, and she wasn't having it. And in the last few months, she's been pretty good at just going to sleep. Well, she's screaming her head off currently in her crib because I think we spoiled her a little bit this last week with her being sick. So the repercussions are long lasting, if that makes sense. So
yeah, that's got to be interesting. But you get some more cuddles in, which you really can't beat. So silver lining is you get, even though there's sick cuddles, you get a few more cuddles at night with.
You do.
Patey weighty.
Well, before we get into what's going on this week, Brandon, let's start out with some positivity. What's a dad joke? Hit me with a dad joke.
Jerry, when you're a church going young man,
mm-hmm.
why do they say amen instead of a woman at the end of songs at church?
Oh, I feel like there's no good answer to this, so I'm gonna plead the fifth and just say I don't know.
Because they're hymns, not hers.
That's good. That was good. I don't know where it was going, but that was definitely.
Oh, don't worry. I had worse.
Oh, I like it. All right, that's not bad. I like that. That was good. I had never heard that one or even seen that one before, so I always like a new joke. But Brandon, what was going on with you guys this last week? What have you guys been up to?
So you mentioned Peyton's temperature. Bryce was right behind her in that regard. So
that was not a competition you want to win.
Yeah, you're right. Coming into this past week, he had started to run a little bit of a fever. It was creeping up towards 100, and it was just something we were monitoring. And then it got a little bit higher towards the middle of the week, which kind of scared us a little bit. But fever eventually broke. He's back to his normal self, which you may or may not want to hear. Actually, Peyton's doing better now, so she's not doing that big of a deal.
I'm not my normal self, but she's her normal self.
Yeah, right. You're about as whiny as you normally are, so I can't really tell the difference.
Oh, tell Macy that. Tell Macy that. She'll probably disagree.
But he has 2 new teeth coming in right up top next to his front 2 teeth. We're making some crawl progress. We're not quite.
I was going to ask about that.
So he's really interesting. So one of a coworker of ours had a kid right after Bryce, and she showed me a video today of her son like literally crawling. So I got a little jealous. But he's doing like the same thing he did with like the rolling over like months back. If you guys who listen faithfully remember, like, so we had a buddy of ours over the weekend from Denver, and Bryce was like kind of infatuated with him, and then the buddy was sitting on our couch like tapping his foot, and Bryce did a few things. This is Wally, for the record, Jerry. You know who Wally is.
Yeah.
So Bryce did a couple things. One, when he first met Wally, he stuck his hand out and like waved at him, kind of, which I've never seen him do before. Every day when I drop him off, my dad like forces his hands up, and we've been doing this for like 6 months. He waves at me every day, but it's a forced wave. I've never seen him hold his hand up at someone before and kind of do that. He was doing that to Wally, so that was the first thing. Second, Wally was like tapping his foot on the couch while we had Bryce on the ground doing some kind of like some tummy time. But we really just been like, he's been on the floor because we're trying to get him to crawl like nonstop. And he finally did the arm movement with the leg movement at the same time. And he did it. He went like 2 quick little steps, looked at the people in the room, flipped right over on his back, and just started having the time of his life laughing.
Oh yeah.
He's like, "Oh, that's enough." So the kid's work ethic is not there yet. So we got to work on. Yeah, we got to work on that. But we're making progress. We'll see. We'll see. One of these updates coming soon. I feel like we're gonna say that he's crawling, but he's pulling himself up on things. He is very, 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 very curious. It's cute but annoying. Like the kid, and he knows how to. He can't crawl yet, but if there's something he wants to get to, he knows how to get there. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because Peyton's doing the same thing, so I know exactly what you mean.
He's not crawling, but he can roll and scoot and slide his way into getting into things that he's not supposed to get into. So it's definitely. I've been saying, hey, I can't wait for him to start moving. I'm starting to get a little bit of a taste, and I get why people kind of drive themselves crazy, because he will end up halfway across the room without you even realizing it. But that was our week.
So Brandon, a while back I told you to watch the kids show Bluey. Did you ever do that?
No.
I didn't think so. Well, do me a favor, and I actually mean this. When this episode, when we're done recording, watch the Bluey episode Bum Shuffle. And it's about 8 minutes long, so it's not long. But trust me, if you watch that episode, it'll make you feel a lot better about crawling and everything tied together with it. It's a kid's show, but it's got a lot of stuff in there for parents, so I think you'll like it. Just trust me. Anyone at home listening and kids loves Bluey, you're probably a big fan. We actually went on a walk the other day, and in the garage was a big Bluey sign for a little girl's birthday. We actually saw the people in the driveway, and Macy goes, "Hey, did someone have a Bluey birthday party?" And they're like, "Yeah, our daughter did." So, and actually my niece had a Bluey birthday party this year too. So it's pretty popular. I highly recommend it, Brandon, to watch the Bum Shuffle episode for Bluey. Yeah,
Jerry, I'm hopping on a Peloton tonight once we get done recording. So I'll watch it right after that.
You should watch it right after that. You might actually like the show's actually pretty great. It's these Australian dogs, and it's just good. But yeah, our week, Brandon, was obviously dominated by sickness. And Macy was sick, which was tough, but Peyton getting sick right afterwards, that was really tough, because she had 102 temperature, which kind of freaks you out. And even though Macy's a nurse, you still, when it's your kids, it hits different. So, she was luckily taking down fluids still, and she was still going to the bathroom regularly. So we called the pediatrician, and they're like, just give her Tylenol. As long as she's staying hydrated, there's not much else we can do. So we kept an eye on it.
What do we pay these pediatricians for the record?
I agree. I like
that is frustrating.
It was frustrating, because I'm like, well, we might have to take her in. I kept saying that to Macy, and she's like, well, what are they going to do? And I'm like, I don't freaking know, but they should be able to do it at home. Exactly. They should be able to do more.
They should make you feel better is what they should do.
Correct.
But no, if you look it up online, it's like, oh, if your kid has had a fever for like 3 or 4 days straight, check. If your kid has a fever of at least 102, check. But then you look at a different website that says like 104. Like, basically, my kid needs to be like sauna temperatures, and then we take him in.
Oh, she was hot too. I'll tell you that. It's because you know how like parents always are touching your forehead when you're a kid, and you're like what? How do you know? No, you could tell she had a fever. She was burning up, so we had her in just a diaper a lot. We put, like a cold wash rag on her. We put her in a bath that was not freezing, but, cooler, not like hot. And then, we just tried to get her with Tylenol and some fluids, but she definitely wanted to be held. You had to hold her, and she was in a lot of pain. And there was a couple really rough nights. We probably had our roughest night ever about a week ago. And it was our roughest night ever, but you weren't mad about it because you knew she wasn't feeling good. But she woke up 7-8 times. She ended up spending the night in bed with us, obviously, and that was rough. And then she started getting better. Macy started getting a little better, and then that's when I took a big downturn, and that kind of put a damper on Father's Day. But it was at least where Macy's can handle some of the responsibilities the last few days, because I don't know that I would have been able to do much. And that would have been really tough to try to take care of the baby by myself if she had to work the last couple of days. But luckily, she doesn't go back to work for another day, so I'm hoping I'm on the upward swing, and then I'll head back to work and go from there. But it was an interesting week. It's funny you mentioned waving. We've been working on waving, and Peyton loves to wave now. So about a week, 2 weeks now, she's been waving, and she doesn't do it all the time, but she does it when she sees someone she knows, and she first sees them. So when she sees me, like she hasn't seen me, she woke up from a nap or I come home from work, she just starts waving and big smile on her face, and I'll wave back at her. And then she'll do it, like I said, when like Macy walks in the room, or like when she's in her activity center and I was in the bedroom or something and come out, she loves to wave. But she doesn't do it on command. It's not like if you have her and you're just like, hey, wave. She doesn't. I don't think she doesn't know the word. But she'll do it when she like first sees you. It's like her thing. So it's really cute. It's not like because they're just like basically just her moving her arm around a bunch, and but it's really cool. So we've been working on that. Her crawling, she's not crawling either, but she's almost. It sounds like she's very similar to how Bryce is. Basically, she can get wherever she wants to go. If you turn away for a second, she's halfway across the room. So we've been trying to put her pacifier farther away to see if she'll crawl to it, and she'll get to it, but not the way we want her to. So I mean, good for her. But she gets in the crawling position all the time, and then she like
falls
shuffles.
on her face.
No, she like rocks back and forth like she's doing like a twerk or something. She like bounces like constantly.
Bryce does the exact same thing. He gets into like all fours, like upright all fours.
Yep.
Does the bounce, and then literally will fall on his face.
Oh, she'll
like
flip.
Trying to move forward, and then he'll look up at you, smiling, and roll over on his back.
Oh, she just flips. She doesn't even. I don't think she even bothers falling on her face. She just flips. But. So I think we're still a little ways away on that. Sitting up, though, we're pretty much all the way there. I can leave, which is kind of a cool thing as a dad. And you talked about this before, but now you can put her in a upright position, put some toys in front of her, and she can be happy for 20, 30 minutes, which is just a game changer. But yeah, if you leave her, I mean, we don't really leave her. You're just right next to her, but I don't have to watch her or put it behind her. She every once in a while will fall over, but I think it's more because she's like looking to see what's behind her, and then so she'll kind of naturally fall back. But she's really good at sitting up now. The one thing that she started that is, you had mentioned this in the past, and some other people, friends of ours, had too, and it's kind of cute, but it's actually kind of obnoxious, is when she's like eating now or doing anything, she gets so easily distracted. She'll eat for like 3 seconds and then stop. And then she'll like lay back, like stretch out, and like if I'm sitting near, she'll look at me and start laughing and then go back to eating and then do it again like 15 times.
Has she started to figure out what she likes versus what she doesn't like?
As far as food, or
yeah,
what, she eats everything right now. I mean,
and Bryce does not.
Really,
he has developed a palate.
Oh, she does not.
That kid knows broccoli. Nah.
We have not given her broccoli because I'm afraid of
Bryce had broccoli today.
Oh, and he didn't like it.
He loves Trader Joe's like stuffed pasta.
Okay.
Like, but so that's always like a go-to. But he had some, and the thing is, like, these dishes that Kelsey makes him are better than anything anybody else in the house is eating.
I was gonna say, I need to have her over to cook us
like,
food.
It's like steamed broccoli with like it's seasoned right, smells great, and this kid is like he'll what was hilarious today. We're just sitting there. We're turning into the dads that just talk about their kids. I mean, we do have a podcast, but
that's true.
This is hilarious. But like he individually grabbed each broccoli piece, put it in his mouth, and just spit it out. Like every single piece and he was trying to figure out if he found one, and he you put the pasta in front of him, he killed it. But
So
the
it's
broccoli, he
not
did not
made
like.
up that kids hate broccoli. You're saying that there's validity to
He's
it.
eaten it before, but it was he killed it when he didn't have like a reference point that he liked other stuff.
Nice.
And now he's yeah, he doesn't love broccoli.
That's funny. Peyton eats everything. We've gotten to the point where I think Macy likes to like find new concoctions. She'll be like, "Oh," I'm like, "What's she having today?" She's having avocado, prune, blueberries, or something crazy, and I'm like, "What?" But then Peyton just eats it up. So, I mean, she so far it's been good. But this actually kind of brings me to a piece of baby gear I wanted to talk about today, Brandon. Um, in the previous episode, I mentioned that we have the Elva baby food maker. Well, they also make food pouches, which basically are like the pouches you can buy from stores that have like the fruits and like the kind of smoothie stuff in it for the kids. Well, you can basically put baby food in those and refrigerate or freeze those. Well, we've been doing that lately, and it's actually a quick, nice, easy way to get her food kind of in the middle of the day or when you're needed to be quicker, because sometimes feeding them can be a process. You got to put them in the high chair. You got to put the bib on them. You got to feed them, and then you got to clean them up because they get messy and everything. Well, when you give them a pouch, basically you give them the pouch and you're done. So we've been mixing those in onesie twosies, not all the time because we still wanted to get used to eating, but those are really nice, and you can buy those, and they're not the only brand that makes it, but those actually work great, and trust me, the kids will figure out how to get the food out of there. Peyton figured it out in 2 seconds, and she loves them. So she had a strawberry banana pouch today. And that's another thing I forgot to mention this week. So today, actually, Peyton had her first swim lesson. That's a big thing I forgot to mention. She had her first swim lesson. Yes, I was bummed I couldn't go because I was sick, but I got
Was it Aquatots?
It was not. Actually, the athletic club nearby has a class, and it's a little bit closer and, quite honestly, a little bit cheaper. And when she's going to be 7 months in a few days. When you're 7 months, honestly, it's just an excuse to get them in the water. So we might do a more intense swimming class later on, but right now we just kind of want to get used to the water. So it's at the athletic club. It's 6 weeks. But I got a FaceTime video and lots of the videos sent my way, but she did good. She did go under, and Macy said she didn't really cry at all. You could tell sometimes that she was getting maybe a little freaked out, but overall did really, really well. So
Peyton or Macy?
I think Peyton. Macy actually did well with it, and Grandma was there too to watch. So that was really cool. I'm hoping to get to make one of the classes at least and see her, but like I said, we have a lot of family that live on lakes and people that have pools and stuff, so we want her to definitely be comfortable around water.
So is this one of the classes where they like just throw her in and like
no
kind of okay?
No, basically the
that
moms
always freaks me out.
Or the dad, like those survival classes type stuff, which we have some friends that have done that and swear by it, but she's too young for that. They're a little bit older when they do that.
Anytime I hear baby swim lessons, that's literally what I think about. Oh, you just threw your baby in the pool and let them fend for themselves.
This is basically the mom or the dad's in the water, and they're doing stuff with that. You have them the whole time, and anything you're not comfortable with, you're not doing. Like I said, more or less, I mean, there's an instructor and they're doing stuff, but more or less it's an excuse to get them in the water around other babies doing stuff. So, I mean, it's something that I don't know if you want to get Bryson to, but it's probably not a bad idea just getting them around water. And like I said, at the athletic club, or if you guys are listening at home, I'm sure like local athletic clubs, YMCAs, different organizations have these classes that they're pretty cost effective and not a bad idea. Because I know some people when I was growing up, their kids were afraid of water or didn't want to go into swimming pools and stuff. And I don't want that. I want her to be good with swimming and feel comfortable and safe in the water.
That's something we got to take a look at. So my piece of baby gear, actually I have a couple. But to that extent, talking about water, Bryce's grandparents bought him a Ganoa baby pool. It's basically a big crab. But that kid had the time of his life. I was getting pictures. They filled it up. Super cheap. I just looked on Amazon. It's like $23. It's a durable looking pool that is kind of themed. The kids will like it. To your point, you made me actually think of something I didn't have written down, but the process of like when you start feeding your baby solids, and the cleanup process cannot be understated. So typically, what we do is Bryce won't have he'll be just in his diaper, and then we put a bib on him. You got different types. So they have, if I just looked on Amazon real quick, I don't even know if this is the exact one we have, but it's called Panda Ear, or they have one called Mushy Silicone Baby Bib.
The silicone ones are the best.
Yeah, the silicone ones clean up really quick, but it has a pocket at the bottom of it, and it just catches all the food. So really, you just have to wipe down his. I mean, we've been letting him basically feed himself since we started the process, so he's pretty good about eating with his hands. He's decent with grabbing spoons and stuff like that. But I mean, his face will get dirty because he misses. So, and you're wiping his face, you're wiping his arms and his hands. But
it's under the neck that I hate cleaning up. I don't know if Bryce does this, but like Peyton. So like obviously, like you said, we do the same thing. She's in a diaper, silicone bib, but you know her face, even her hands, I can clean pretty quick. But she gets like under her neck, but like doesn't want you to get there. And there's like food that gets built up there, and that's always a pain trying to get there.
Well, I grab his head, pull it back, and just wipe it off.
Oh, that's what I end up doing too. But she don't like it. She's not happy.
Sometimes you miss stuff, and you gotta like, as I'm playing with them for the next hour, I'll like catch a little piece of food and throw it off to Riley, and Riley will eat the neck food. And then one thing for summertime, I have not been a fan of Kite Baby. You know, both of our wives really like Kite Baby, but the zippered rompers, the material, and with it being super hot in Michigan lately, that is something that Bryce has been really comfortable in. It's been good for summer, so it might not have to be that actual brand, but the zippered rompers is that, I don't even know what you call that material it is. But it's almost like Under Armour material.
Yeah.
For some of their products, but it's super cool to the touch, and I think Bryce has responded well to it.
Well, you know, my wife has an obsession with little sleepy pajamas, and I'm not a huge fan of those either. But Peyton does have a pair of Baby Yoda ones that are pretty cute. So
that's pretty
those ones are probably my favorite of the little sleepies that she has, because she has an ungodly amount. And it's not just Macy that does this. It's her mom, too. She feeds the obsession, and she'll buy Peyton these little sleepies as well. So it's a family affair when it comes to that brand in my house.
One day we should just do like an inventory of how much money has been spent.
Oh, I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that. Well, Brandon.
Thank God for the registries, though, because
yes,
some of the stuff we did not have to pay for.
That is very true. But recently, Brandon, it just yesterday, it was our day, our first day. It was Father's Day, which was the first one that both you and I got to spend as fathers with Earthside children. So that was exciting. Yeah, that's the way I'll phrase it there. But you have a little history on the holiday.
What? That's hilarious. Earthside children.
Well, technically last year, both our wives were pregnant, so we were kind of, I mean, depends on who you talk to.
Apparently they were on Mars.
Well, it's always interesting because when women are pregnant, but when it's their first kid, always, you know, the moms get to celebrate Mother's Day. They're pregnant, they have a baby, they're a mom. But dads don't get to celebrate being a dad yet. I always found that strange. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, it's kind of strange. So this one's the first official.
Sounds like you were
us.
Triggered last year a little bit.
No, it was okay. It was okay.
So yeah, you're right. I do have some history on Father's Day. It's actually interesting that you brought up Mother's Day, because Father's Day would not be around if it weren't for Mother's Day. Mother's Day came around first. Technically, the nation's first Father's Day was celebrated June 19th, 1910 in the state of Washington, but it took almost 60 years for it to actually become an official holiday. And that happened with one of our favorite presidents, who I'll get to in a second. And I say that tongue in cheek. So ultimately, to understand the history of Father's Day, you kind of have to understand when Mother's Day came about. Mother's Day started off post-Civil War. You had a lot of mothers who were working at the time, and there's a group of people who wanted to basically establish a day to commemorate them. Long story short, It was actually observed as a holiday in the early 1900s. So look at the difference there, dads. Mother's Day becomes like an official holiday, like right around 1914. Father's Day doesn't become official holiday until 1972.
Jeez,
That's
OP.
that's almost all you need to know when it comes to that. But ultimately, it took a little convincing. You had some. I'm giving a summary of it. You had some states who celebrated it, but it didn't really become a federal holiday. Actually, until I'll give you one guess, Jerry, as to who the president was that actually enacted or signed the legislation to make Father's
Ronald
Day.
Reagan.
No, not in 72. It was our boy Richard Nixon.
I know. I
Good
just want
old
to say
Dick
Ronald Reagan.
I know.
To you
I know
because
why you want to say Ronald
we
Reagan.
have a little back and forth when it comes to Ronald Reagan. But yeah, Richard Nixon. That makes sense if it was 72. So, all right, our boy Nixon.
Yeah, and there's more than $1 billion each year spent on Father's Day gifts.
Oh, really? Well, let's get into Father's Day gifts then, Brandon. That's a nice little segue there. So
I know what I'm doing sometimes.
So I did get some gifts. Actually, one thing's kind of similar. Peyton got me a couple things. The first thing, she got me a couple books. One of the books was a Bluey book. It says "My Awesome Dad" or "My Dad is Awesome" or something like that. So it was really cute. And then she also got me a book that's Brett Young's book that he wrote for his daughter, which Brett Young has a special place in our heart because that is this country singer that sings the wedding song for me and Macy. So our wedding song is from Brett Young. He had a little girl and he wrote a book for her. So I got that book from her as well. And then I also got, it's really cool, Brandon, I'll have to put a picture out there, but it's a platter. It's like a cooking platter, like a grill platter, but it's got like hot dogs that have two buns, and in between are Peyton's feet, like prints of her feet. And then it's got her hand, and it's like a hamburger where there's like buns on top. So it's like her hands and feet that make up this little grill platter. So that was really cool. And then Macy got me some dress pants because I like to wear dress pants. So she got me some of those. And then my mother-in-law actually got me some socks with Peyton's face on them. So those are pretty awesome as well because I like wearing funky socks to work, and those ones will probably be my new favorite. So those were some of the gifts I got. Brandon, what about you?
Those socks are always fun. I've received gifts with I got some with Kelsey's face on them, our dogs' faces, stuff like that. Those are always like cool, out of the box. You're not expecting them gifts. So my big thing with Father's Day, Kelsey asked me what I wanted. It's almost like, what do you get the person who, like, if I really want something, I will find a way to get it, truthfully. So really, I just wanted time. I was invited to go out golf on like 50. I didn't realize this is a thing, but like everybody, I feel like golfs on Father's Day. And it nothing, no shade towards people who golf on Father's Day, but this is my first Father's Day with my kid. I wanted to hang out with basically my kid.
I couldn't agree more with Brandon because I got invited by a lot of people too, and I was like,
we probably got invited by the same people.
We did, but it seemed stranger to me too. So I'm glad. I ended up being sick, but I said the same thing. So I'm glad you said that because I felt the same way.
Yeah. So really, I wanted time spent with family. So she there was one of our Crust, actually, free promo, but if you're in the Michigan area, they have great brunch and great breakfast. They had a Father's Day brunch special that Kelsey knew about and I didn't. But my favorite dish from them is like an eggs Benedict. It's just like great. They did a chicken and waffles eggs Benedict with like maple hollandaise, hot honey, bacon bits, right up my alley. So get up in the morning, I'm hanging out with Bryce. I'm starting to like get myself ready for the day. Kelsey leaves, she comes back. What do I have in front of me but that exact dish? Is perfect. So start off the morning with some really good breakfast. Both sets of grandparents. This was the tough part almost. We're trying to figure out what we were going to do because when we talked about this with other holidays, like we have like our day now, but I want to hang out with my dad too. She wants to hang out with her dad. So how do we coordinate all these? And this was a few different iterations. We were going to meet them in a restaurant. We're going to do this, do that. Ultimately, both sets of grandparents actually came to our house, which was great for us. So we ordered your favorite Mexican restaurant, and we ended up ultimately having everyone over. Spent a ton of time with them. It was absolutely great. I did get a chance to swing clubs a little bit. Part of Kelsey's dad's gift was a new driver, which is an offshoot of the one I currently have. So I have a driving range within like a minute of my house. Him and I snuck over there before my parents came out. Hit the driving range. He swung my driver a little bit. Little did he know he was going to be getting one coming to him very soon. And then my dad, Jerry, you know my dad a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So Kelsey's dad got a new driver. We spent some time with him at the driving range. My dad, growing up, his big thing was always like, as a kid, you like, I don't know if you did this, but I did this. I might be hungry, but I know we're leaving, and I don't want a sandwich from the house. I don't want like anything from the house. In my like devious mind, I'm gonna wait until we get on the road and say I'm hungry. Maybe we get like McDonald's or something. That's what I want.
Well, I knew the answer growing up. It was no, so I didn't do that.
Yeah, it was no if my dad was driving. So my dad's big thing growing up always was like absolutely no to like Subway, Jimmy John's, anything like that. Like if it's a sandwich shop, we got bread, we got meat, we got cheese at home. Go make that sandwich at home. So it's an absolute no. You bring up Subway, no, you can make a sandwich at home. That was always his thing. So I got him I got him a nice thoughtful card. He got a card from Bryce too. I wrote a really sweet note in there. And then inside he had 4 different gift certificates to Jersey Mike's, Jimmy John's, Firehouse, and Subway.
That's awesome.
Told him I'm gonna. You don't have to waste. It don't have to be a waste of money anymore. So I got a kick out of that.
The best would be if he like used them and just absolutely loves them now and ends up going all the time.
He loves Jersey Mike's. Like
you do it as a rap, Brandon. That's the secret.
I took him there before. Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, you do the exact same subs, but you do them as a wrap instead of. I swear, everyone talked about this at work, and I thought they were crazy, and I did it. It's better. It like soaks the juices in. I'm telling you, try it once; it'll change your life. Plus, it's probably a little bit healthier.
It's probably messed up stuff like that got you sick.
That's why I got sick.
I'm out on wraps.
I'm telling you,
Jersey Mike's.
Wraps from Jersey Mike. I don't
want that big Kahuna in a wrap.
The big Kahuna's good.
It is.
Well, I liked it. That sounds like it was a pretty good day, Brandon.
You got to spend time. I got to spend time with family. We maneuvered the multiple households, and got to hang out. I mean, Bryce was just like he came off from being in like a horrible mood to being in like even today. He's just like the kid is just so happy all the time. It's great.
That's good. Yeah, our day obviously got messed up a little bit with me being sick. Originally, we were supposed to, kind of like you have, we have lots of families. We got, my family has 2 families because my parents are divorced, and then obviously Macy's family too. We were going to try to see everyone. We were supposed to go to a golf simulator with her dad and her family, and then we were supposed to go over to my grandparents' house and see my dad and that side of the family, but we didn't do any of it because we got sick, and I didn't want to get anyone else sick. So what we did is we woke up and we spent some time together in the morning. I wasn't feeling very good, but we kind of hung out. Macy ended up taking Peyton to her dad's house, spent a little time with her grandpa. Peyton did. He took her on a little bit of a nature hike, so that was kind of cute. And then they came back home. We got some takeout from one of my favorite places, Mexican place. It wasn't my favorite one, but it was another one close by. So we did that, had that, and watched a silly movie and just kind of hung out for the day. So it wasn't quite the epic Father's Day that I would have envisioned, but it was nice because I got to spend a lot of time around Peyton and Macy. And we FaceTimed my dad and my grandpa, which, oh my gosh, I went to FaceTime these. My family was all at my grandpa's house. And
I feel like I know where this is
none of the people on this side of the family have a freaking iPhone. So you have to like send an invite to invite them to FaceTime or something. And these people just, oh my gosh, they could not figure it out. So my grandpa calls me, and I love my grandpa to death.
To you, Jerry.
No, it's just funny because I love my grandpa to death, and I'm talking to him, and he's like, I saw something come through, but I didn't know what it was. I said, I was trying to FaceTime you guys. He goes, on the iPad? I'm like, no, on my phone. He goes, you can do that on the phone? I was like, yeah. And so he's like, oh, I've only ever done it on the iPad. I'm like, well, I'll send you a link to your phone. He goes, from what? I said, from my phone. He goes, from your landline? I was like, no, I don't have a landline. From my cell phone. So luckily I figured out that my niece was there, and she has an iPhone. So Macy called her, and we got her to do it. So the 14-year-old was able to save us all. But yeah, it was just funny trying to get them to do it. And then we got through, and they couldn't figure out how to work the sound. So they were. I felt like it was like,
dude, you need to use Facebook Messenger or Google.
I tried doing that too, Facebook Messenger, and I swear the technology was over. It's okay. We got through. They ended up seeing Peyton, so we did that. But
shout out to Jerry.
Yes,
the other Jerry,
the original Jerry 1 and Jerry 2.
OGG.
Correct. But there was one gift, Brandon, that I haven't mentioned yet. So obviously I'm a dad to Peyton, but before Peyton, I was a dad to Raja, my puppy. And Macy always helps Raja get me a gift. So she got me a gift on Father's Day too, and you'll appreciate this one. So Macy likes to get me those little Pops characters of different things. Like I have one of Charlie Conway, Tom Brady. So Raja got me this one right here, Brandon. She got me a Luka Doncic Pop character.
Oh my God.
So now I got Luka to join Tom Brady and the rest of the crew. Michael Scott. And
I got to hear about Luka for the rest of my life now.
I heard he's going to be on the 2K cover too.
You already were a big Luka fan, but that's going to solidify it.
I do, and he's got the retro jersey on in it too.
Hey, I mean, not to get off topic, but they just made a pretty solid trade for them.
I saw that. If only our Pistons could do something.
We got to have a segue and do like a branch off sports.
Well, Detroit sports is so depressing that I don't even know. I mean, we have to do it about.
No, it's not.
It is.
We're 3 days away from the NBA draft. Pistons got a top 5 pick. They got a player that might end up getting traded for another pick.
They're drafting Keegan Murray. You heard it here.
Don't get me started. Jaden Ivey.
They're not. He's not going to be there. He's going to be gone.
They really can't upset me this draft. There are 3 different names that I'd be happy with them drafting. I do think Ivy is at a different level though.
Yeah, I know.
No one cares about this.
You want the athletic guard that can't shoot, can't play defense, and can't play make. But I get it. It's all good. He looks good at dunking a basketball, so he's a top 5 pick.
He can shoot.
Yeah, at the same clip I can.
35% from 3. No. We can upload a video of your jump shot.
It's a little slow, but it's
at least. Hey, thank God that they have backboards in basketball. Jerry finds them all.
It's true. Well, Brandon, like I said, at Father's Day though, it wasn't quite what I envisioned. But I don't know if you remember this, but Macy's first Mother's Day when she was pregnant, she actually was in the hospital. And we had to take her to the ER that day.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
That was her first Mother's Day, and this was my first Father's Day. So apparently our firsts with Pate are a little bit not according to script, but that's okay. There's
always next year.
It was pretty cool though, knowing that the day, like you said, you want to spend time with your dad and grandparents and stuff like that, but also knowing that the day's somewhat about yourself too was kind of a cool feeling, knowing that you are a dad and taking care of a Earthside human, right, Brandon?
I mean, you said it earlier. It hit different. It hit different this go around. I definitely felt it. It was cool.
All right, you ready for a dad joke, Brandon?
Yeah. I hope it's Earthside.
I actually got 2 dad jokes. You want 1 or 2?
Let's go 2.
All right. The second one I think is funnier, but let's go with the first one first. I think it's a classic. What did the ocean say to the shore?
I see you.
Nothing. It just waved.
That was on topic.
It was.
That was on topic.
And then this one I think is a little bit funnier. What do you call a boomerang that doesn't come back?
Broken.
A stick. It's funny. It's imagine
That's
throwing
stupid.
a stick and say, I don't know why that one's funny. It's like a visual in my head. Like you just throw a stick and you're like, oh, it didn't come back.
Funny.
So those are my 2 dad jokes.
Turn up, Jerry.
I like
Get the people out of here.
Well, Brandon, if you haven't already, like us on all our social media stuff. Tell all your friends about us. I think we're going to have a guest speaker here in an upcoming episode. I'm excited about that. They're in a stage much earlier, kind of like when we started this podcast. It'll be kind of fun to almost go down memory lane with where they're at compared to where we're at. So that's exciting, along with kind of seeing a few big milestones coming up soon, like crawling, Brandon. So we'll see where that gets us. And we're going to actually have to really baby-proof our houses here soon. And so
baby-proofing, what's that?
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully this next week when we're on the podcast, I'm feeling better and we got some big news to share as far as Bryce crawling or something else. So, but until next time, I'm Jerry, joined here by Brandon, and you've been listening to Dad Jokes.